Hi, I'm Nina Namori. This is Mori Makes, episode 1, and we are making a pine needle dice tray. I made this little basket for a friend's birthday. I wanted to understand how people can weave off of different surfaces. I weaved pine needles off a scrap piece of wood, and this unlocked the possibility of creating a dice tray, something I don't have and would greatly appreciate. For this project, I want to use these pine needles that I have found from a fallen tree. I like that there are some needles that have managed to retain their green color and dry out completely. Something that I haven't actually seen very much of or ever before, actually. And on the note of never seeing things before, are woven dice trays. I was thinking to simply make a little wooden box, but when the possibility or ponderings of being able to have a flat wooden surface and to weave the walls were possible, I couldn't help but want to make something like that for myself. Other materials are thread. I think this is for making lace actually. It's quite a bit thicker than regular thread. Wax, a tube, a needle, some pliers, and a pair of scissors. Okay, so making the floorboard, I found a nice piece of wood. I didn't like it. I wanted a small version, a thinner version. And then to do the next thing is to poke a bunch of holes in it for which the thread will connect the weaving to. There it is. Quick and easy. Now the next bit is to start soaking the pine needles. We need them to be soft enough that you can weave with it. And also there is this little bit at the top. I don't know what it is, but it's a bit at the top that you have to try and take off. But yeah, basically, we're having a garden break right now. This is a pumpkin seed that I put in the ground. I love it. And here is another one. Wow, I really wanted to show the world these little pumpkin sprouts that I have in my garden. It's the first time I've ever had a pumpkin, so let's hope it works. Anyway, back to work. So these needles have been soaking for, I think, a night, like an afternoon and a night. And that's the little piece that you have to pull off. It's nicer to actually pull this piece off, even though it's way, way, way more work. It's nicer to weave with because it kind of keeps the needles together, because the needles aren't just like one singular piece. It's got like 2, sometimes 3 pieces kind of connected together. And it creates a kind of structure or strength that it makes it easier to pack into the little tube that you use for weaving. Anyway, I kind of imagine this dice tray to be something for the wooden creatures, the wild ones, and maybe like the roguish weirdos. Like if there was a rogue sitting atop a tree and was able to just weave a little basket while waiting, I think it would be very lore accurate. And also, I do have lore for this dice tray. I guess that is something that one thinks about while weaving, how this tray came to be, the origins as it were. And so you must allow me to weave this tale while crafting this magical dice tray. The Witch of the Southern Forest made many things: potions in clay cups, charms of dried flowers and vine, maps painted on hawthorn bark. But the first thing she ever made for her dice, and her dice alone, was the tray. For its walls, she wove the resilient needles of the ancient pines that stood sentinel on the high ridges of her home. Her fingers worked the sharp, fragrant strands into a size most suitable for rolling. For its floor, she took a humble scrap of wood, sanding it smooth into a surface worthy of depicting the future. This tray would be a wellspring of strength, a magnet for fortune, and a guardian of her long life. It became her constant companion, a sacred stage where dice clattered to whisper secrets. forever smelling of sun-warmed resin, and within its material, the memories of the southern forest. For generations beyond mortal counting, she served as warden of the southern forest. The tray saw centuries of service, but time, patient and inexorable, claims all of its debts. The witch passed from this world to the next, and her home, bereft of her magic, sighed and began to soften back into the earth. Then came the great rain. It loosened the soil and washed her treasures from their resting places, scattering a lifetime of enchantments throughout the forest. The woven tray of pine needles, tumbling in the flood, was finally caught and cradled in the low, gentle embrace of an aspen tree. Its fragrance muted, but its form enduring. There it rested, patient as stone, caked in loam and leaf. Okay, so at this point I had finished the tray. I had woven off the ends and I had finished it. It kind of felt like it was missing something, like it was almost too simple. So what I decided to do was take a photo of the tray and on my iPad sketch out a sigil of sorts. I had this idea of a little clover plant to bless the tray with luck, and it was cute. It was cute. And that was the problem I had run into. So a little bit about me is that I grew up on shows like The Max and Aeon Flux, and my art used to reflect that. It was dark and gloomy and gory, and I wanted to branch out of the punk scene and into more commercial spaces, and threw it all away and started drawing in a more cute style. And that actually is what I want to stop doing. I want to go back to my dark and weird, and TTRPGs is my way of doing that. And this tray needs to reflect that. This tray went through many iterations before I settled on the one it is now. I kind of like how layered it is now. I feel like it's a great expression of kind of the things that I'm going through with my creativity. I have had quite a big, massive, multiple year-long art block, and it wasn't until I started thinking about world building and was actually invited to join a campaign that I really wanted to start going back into the original, more myself, unique me type of art, the more weird part of art and not the commercial, like opiates for the masses kind of style of illustration. Okay, so I'm rambling. Here is me trying to distress or add moss. I definitely need to work on this. I feel like I've definitely lost my style and I have to go back. I have to work back. It's not something that you gain quickly. You have to continue honing your skill, you know what I mean? Anyway, this is how it looks now, and I'm very, very happy with it. We're gonna have some lore time now. Enjoy some lore time. One day, as the tray lay dormant among the leaves, a witch appeared. She was wandering paths old and new and had caught the faintest scent of pine sap where none should be. She knelt beneath the aspen tree, brushed away the debris of decades, and unearthed not just a relic, but an inheritance. The woven tray, still sturdy and surprisingly resilient, warmed to her touch. The sleeping sigil flickered awake, recognizing a new heart, a new companion. Strength, luck, and fortune do not fade. They merely wait for the next worthy hand. And so, the tray's story began anew, passed from the guardian of the past to the seeker of the future. Its next chapter yet to be rolled. That is the story and my tray. Thank you for being here. If you liked this show, let me know in the comments below. There's more world building and dungeon making in the future, and I hope to see you there.